ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. It is only hours since the mortal remains of Ariel Sharon, or Arik Sharon as he was known, were laid to rest in the Negev in Israel. Arik Sharon actually was born in a moshav. He was a pioneer, he was a chalutz in Israel. He was born before the establishment of the State of Israel, participated in all its wars, and he was certainly compenetrated. He was one with the land of Israel. He knew every river or every little piece of water that you have in Israel, every hill that you have. He knew all the topography of Israel in his mind. He didn't have to go in a helicopter or in a plane in order to see what Israel looks like. He knew it like the palm of his hands. Therefore, he was also an extraordinary soldier. Great strategy was behind every one of his decisions. But he was also a very accomplished politician. He also was an ideologue because he believed in the independence of the Jewish people. But at the same time, he knew how to compromise. He was a pragmatist. When it was necessary, he knew how to bend a little bit in order to accommodate the situation. He was a student of Zev Jabotinsky, a very good friend of Menachem Begin. He visited Venezuela on several occasions, and I had the privilege, the honor, of sitting at his table on several occasions and speaking to him, listening to him, how he was evaluating the situation of Israel. He was one of those that many years ago knew how to define the problem of Israel. It isn't a question of how many kilometers Israel has to give back, will give back, won't give back. The question is of existence. The real question is the Arab world ready to accept an independent Jewish state in what they consider is their area, in their midst? Well, apparently to this day, that hasn't been completely absorbed, because he said, the war of independence hasn't finished yet. It may have started in 1948, but all the successive wars, in a certain way, are manifestations, new chapters in the original war of independence of the State of Israel. It is very odd because there are many states that have been established since Israel was established as an independent state. The United Nations has many more states that are members today than at the time of its inception. Yet no state has had to face the number of wars that Israel has had during these past 60 years. Ariel Sharon was a very proud Jew. He was a proud Israeli, but he knew that Israel and the Jewish people in the diaspora are one. I don't know how observant a man he was, but he was a traditional man. He knew how to love country, how to love people. He was really like a bulldozer. There was no obstacle in his way that he didn't surmount when he felt that the right was on his side. Sometimes he even disobeyed, I understand, his superiors when he was in the military. But history always proved that he was right. But I think he's going to go down in the annals of history also as the man who separated Gaza from Israel, just withdrew Israel occupation from Gaza, because Gaza actually had never been a part of historic Israel. And he felt that Israel shouldn't be there. It was a tremendous gesture. It was a question, how will the Arab world react? How was the Palestinian Authority going to react? Eventually, Hamas was the one that had the upper hand in Gaza, and it has been used as a stage for some missiles that rain from time to time in different localities in the south of Israel. I remember once in the United States we had an emissary from one of those cities that received these missiles that were more frequent in the past and lately, really. How children are traumatized by that, how difficult it is to know that at any moment a missile can come down and try to destroy you. But I think that Ariel Sharon demonstrated to the world that Israel wants really peace. It is ready to give up territory if necessary. Israel will recognize an independent Palestinian state, but not one that is armed, that wants to destroy the state of Israel. And when the Arab world comes to terms with the knowledge that there is a Jewish state in their midst, an independent Jewish state that is a model of democracy, where men and women have equal rights, where everyone is equal before the law, including Jews who are Israeli citizens and Arabs who are Israeli citizens, and even those who are not citizens. They know that in Israel you can receive justice because the entire system is based in such a way that every one of the powers is really independent. Well, I had the privilege, as I say, of meeting person to person Ariel Sharon. I sat at his table in Caracas, and I remember a number of years ago when people were afraid of Syria and Egypt and Jordan, of all the lands, of all the countries that are around Israel. He said, no, that the greatest enemy is really Iraq, is the most powerful enemy. But that was, of course, before the wars that eliminated Saddam Hussein, and Iraq is no longer the same threat as it was in those years. Nowadays, of course, we have different problems. But Ariel Sharon was a great diplomat. He was a great politician. He saw not only the immediate events, he also looked into history. He is certainly going to go down in the annals of the Jewish people as one of our greatest political leaders of last century and of this century as well. Teheh zichro baruch. May his memory forever be a blessing to all those who had the privilege of knowing him.